Climate change is made up of many factors and affects the planet in many ways. Carbon dioxide from farms, factories and cars forms a layer in the atmosphere which catches heat and heats up the planet. The heating of the planet melts ice caps, which in turn raises the sea levels. A plastic product from the factories producing the carbon dioxide pollutes the ocean. All this together produces severe weather patterns. So how is this affecting countries, and what are countries doing to stop this? Because of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and the heating of the Earth's temperature, Australia faced some of the worst wildfires they've ever seen. It's been estimated that millions of animals died in the fires. There were mass evacuations from the areas threatened by the wildfires. The Australian government deployed the military to try and fight these fires, and many areas were left without power and water for days. Many families lost their homes in the fires. Toxic fumes from the fires also filled the air, and many citizens had to wear masks to stop themselves from breathing in the fumes. Over in Australia's Cocos keeling islands, they've also been heavily affected by climate change. Tons of plastic landing on their shores from China and other countries like Malaysia and Indonesia, but also as far away as India. Their formerly beautiful coast being coated in plastic and covered in rubbish from other countries. Local islanders are now being tasked with cleaning up the plastic that's been carried over by currents from other countries, and they're now cleaning up the plastic they didn't even create. An estimated 414 million pieces of plastic being on their beaches. Just by in the tiny country of Tuvalu, the entire country is being threatened by rising sea levels because of climate change. And they're estimating that in a number of decades their entire country could be under the water. And hundreds of Tuvaluan kids being born today will not have a home in adulthood. The Tuvalu's leaders are trying to relocate the people of Tuvalu to other countries to be in a safer position. Tuvalu is planning to become the first online country in existence and planning to go into the metaverse. In Africa, Somalia has also faced the effect of climate change. With the increase in temperature of the planet, droughts have become more and more common in countries like Somalia and Ethiopia. As these droughts, families can no longer grow any crops and have to flee their home. Up to 3.7 million Somalians have fled because of the droughts or war in their country. Water is something most of us can just go and get from our tap is being rationed in Somalia because of the droughts. Many newborn Somalian children are developing malnutrition. Their families cannot grow crops to feed them because of the drought. The only help the Somalians have had against climate change is charities like UNICEF going in and giving them water and food. An already hot climate in Southeast Asia, countries like Thailand, Vietnam, Singapore and others. Their already hot climate has been made hotter by climate change, with them experiencing record heat waves. And the typhoons that hit every year have been made more extreme by climate change, destroying more homes and causing a greater threat to these countries. In Bangladesh, they have been hit by 40 degrees Celsius weather. Those in the country being shut because of the intense heat. The country has also been experiencing power cuts. The use of coolers and air conditioners taking up most of the country's electricity supply. South America, Brazil is being affected by their own actions in the Amazon, with 3 football fields a minute being cut down of trees in the Amazon. Plants that have cancer-fighting elements have been cut down in the Amazon, and the plants may have had factors that could be used for treating cancer. Indigenous tribes and peoples have been pushed out of their land by loggers in the area. Many animals native to the rainforest have gone extinct or getting close to extinction because of this logging of their habitat. What is the Brazilian government trying to do to stop these actions? The Brazilian government have released a plan to stop logging in the Amazon by 2030. They're planning to put heavy fines on any companies logging the Amazon. They're banning farming in deforested areas of the Amazon. They're destroying expensive equipment being used to destroy the Amazon rainforest. We'll tell if this is enough to stop logging in the Amazon. In the US and Canada, they have faced consequences from wildfires in Canada by loggers purposely burning down trees in Canada, and climate change, cutting up trees and causing bushfires and wildfires in Canada. In late June 2023, a smog from the wildfires travelled down North America, reaching major cities like New York and Philadelphia, the air even turning yellow in some places. And people had to go back to wearing masks because of these wildfires. While the smog has now passed, it shows the US and Canada what consequences are of deforestation and their actions. So that's how climate change affects countries, with countries sinking into the sea, burning to the ground, plastic polluting coasts, droughts leaving entire countries without water, and smog making the air toxic to breathe. These are just some of the effects of climate change on countries, and how the countries are trying to stop it.